On today's episode of Random Talk with NG, I'll be discussing work burnout. The World Health Organization (WHO) recognizes burnout as an occupational phenomenon, describing it as a syndrome resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. Joining me to discuss this crucial topic is an amazing individual who I have come to interact with over the years. Her name is Adeola Akindele. Hello, Adeola, and welcome to Random Talk with NG.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for taking time out to discuss this very important topic with me. I truly appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just get right into it. So, can you share your personal experience with work burnout?
From the topic burnout. Burnout is something that I want to believe that happens to everybody one time or the other. But then my personal experience, it will be when I was in consulting during COVID, when there was no clear cut between work and family time. After all of us were working from home. And then it then means that in the past, when we were in the office, when we could easily close and say, oh, I've closed my laptop for today, and then a normal person that you're reporting to would not expect that you should have your laptop. But then during COVID, that was not the case, because everybody believed that everybody had their laptop, so there was no clear cut. So I think that was the most significant time that I experienced burnout, when there was not a clear cut. And then because everybody was a new time and everybody was just doing the whole work from home in quote, most of us didn't figure out how to address it earlier. So I think that's the time I experienced burnout the most.
Okay, that's interesting. So, with regards to COVID, I also remember that, and I agree with you on the fact that most of us did not even know how to deal with working that style of working, because I also know that during that time I could work till late at night, and then at night I struggled to sleep, find it difficult to sleep. The next morning we go again, and it was just an annoying period. But let's digress to what do we think are the main causes of burnout in today's work culture, because beyond COVID, burnout is something that has been happening a lot.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, burnout. I know that most of us, even before COVID, we must have experienced burnout at one point in time. But I think at the onset, when COVID just started, and the fact that, like you said, most of us, this was a new work culture for us, it was very, very rampant. But outside of COVID, what I've done is to try to balance it. So work-life balance is not a myth after all. I think on an individual level, if you can balance work, it might look very, very difficult saying it that, oh, I can balance work. But then if you can create a good boundary between work and your personal time, I think that's the most important way to keep burnout at bay. Yes, we can manage work and life separately and then still be burnout. But for the most significant part of it, I think if you can have a clear boundary between your work and your family time or your personal time, let me use personal time, you would reduce burnout significantly.
Yeah, so if I hear what you say, not being able to balance our work and our personal time is what we're suffering from. I had a
Yes,
partner at
because
work say that there is nothing like work-life balance, but there is work-life harmony.
well, whatever we want to call it, work-life harmony, work-life balance, I think we're talking
Yeah.
about the same thing. Because in the end, we have to create a boundary, especially with today's work. The future, I like to say that the future of work is flexible. The future of work is no longer I must be on my seat in the office to attend to meetings, to attend to work and all of that. Now, the fact that I can attend to work anywhere, some of us have our emails on our phone, for example. I don't think it's a bad thing, but I've personally decided that I would not have my emails. I would not have Outlook on my phone, for example. I think it's one of the ways that I've been able to keep that boundary in place. Because let me explain this. If I have my Outlook on my phone, that means that somebody can send me an email. It might not even be urgent. It might not be urgent and important at that point in time, but I had seen it. And that means that that thing will be at the back of my mind, and I keep saying, oh, I'm owing so and so task. But if I've not seen it, at least I have that peace of mind. It's not there. So whether it's work-life harmony, whether it's work-life balance, the boundary has to be there. Once that boundary, if you can put that boundary there, yes, of course, sometimes there will be times where it calls for you to break those boundaries by yourself. Like, there's no choice. You don't have a choice, but you have to do the work. But then, it won't be every day. It won't be all the time. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I do. Yeah, so with regards to work-life balance, not drawing the boundaries, it's definitely one of the major causes of burnout. Do you think doing too much unnecessary work, unnecessary admin tasks can contribute to the work life the can contribute to the work burnout that we experience?
Okay, so I've been on the two sides of the coin. So I think this question, I'll answer it from both sides. I used to be consulting too, right? So, and then you had juniors that can do some of these admin tasks for you, and then that reduces, I don't know, I don't say it reduces the workload, because it doesn't reduce the workload entirely, but at least it takes away a bit of the admin tasks that you're saying, right? But in the industry where I work now, in the industry, most times you have to start these things from start to finish. So I think I've experienced the both sides. So having so much admin task, does it contribute to work life? Again, boundaries. Again, setting realistic timelines. That is what is important here. What do I do now where I have to do my admin tasks by myself, do the technical bit of the work by myself? I think the way I've been able to manage this is to set realistic timelines, make sure that I am not working under pressure all the time. For example, I'm a senior manager now. I think I should not be creating pay schedule, for example, for the benefit of those that are not accounting savvy. Pay schedule, pay as you earn, where you list the number of staff that you have, the gross emolument and the deductions, and then you file it with tax authorities. So when I was in consulting, I would have gotten a junior team member to do that from scratch, and then probably the only thing I'm doing is to review it and then give somebody else to file. Now in the industry, I do the schedule myself, I review it myself, and then I file by myself. So at this admin task, yes, the only technical bit of this is probably reviewing the schedules. But then I do this by myself. How do I ensure that these things do not make me burn out or stressed immensely at the end of the day? I make sure that I start it on time in such a way that the deadline for filing this thing is 10 days after the month of deduction. So that means December salary, for example, you file it on the 10th of January. I'm not going to start on the 9th of January. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm probably going to do the schedule maybe on the 30th, and then review it, do other things, then go back to review it and all of that. So I think while administrative tasks would contribute to burnout, if you manage it very well, if you manage your deadlines, your timelines, and all of that, I think it can keep burnout at bay. I don't know if that answers
Yeah,
the
it actually
question.
does. Thank you. So, how can someone identify the early signs of burnout?
Okay, so I think I'll speak from a personal point of view. The early signs, I'm unable to sleep. You would think that when someone is tired, they should be able to find sleep very fast. But I see that when I'm burned out, when I'm stressed out, I find it difficult to sleep. Once I start seeing that I find it very difficult to sleep, or when I sleep, I wake up tired, I wake up so stressed out, or I didn't have a peaceful sleep. I'm sleeping and I'm dreaming about what I'm owing, so and so. I already know that, hey, we are on the borderline, or we are already stressed out. We need to keep it in check. We need to evaluate what has been happening recently and look for a way to refresh, to recharge, and then move forward.
Yes, that is actually true. I know that for me, I started having insomnia. I dealt with insomnia for so long, and I discovered along the line that it was because I was burnt out. And then another thing was I knew I was not giving my best at work. So things that I could do within a minute, 2 minutes, or an hour, 2 hours, I found myself spending longer time to deal with it.
Yeah, that happens to me too. When um things that come easily to you, things that on the spot you have solutions, you don't have to think deep and think deeper and deeper before it comes to you. Yeah, I think that's also an indication that you're burnt
Yeah.
out or
So,
that you're
what
stressed.
strategies do you recommend for managing stress before it turns to burnout?
Okay, what I do, I think I've spoken about one of it, is creating realistic timelines, starting the work on time. I know that it's not every time that you have you're in control of your schedules. Sometimes things happen, and then, like we say it in consulting, I need it like yesterday. That is a significant contributor. When you cannot control your timeline, when you cannot control your when you can't set realistic timelines. So I think what I've done now that I can manage my own schedule better is simply to make sure that I don't give because I want to impress my boss, for example, something that's going to take me 48 hours, and then I say, oh, I can give you this by close of business today, and then at the end of the day I start to stress when it was not even necessary in the first place. Like I said, there are some times when this doesn't work. I remember a situation where I was still in consulting then, when one of our clients needed to file their tax computation. Of course, we had deadlines, but for some reasons, they didn't send the documents required in time. We had sent several reminders, and for some reason, we thought maybe they were ready to pay the penalties for late filings, and that was why they were not bothered. But it was later we found out that it was beyond their control too. They didn't have the document, and then the document came at 3 p.m. Yeah, I remember very well. It came at 3 p.m. No, it came at 2 p.m. And then they said, what is the probability that we can still file tomorrow? Now, tomorrow is filing deadline. By 5 p.m., FRS will close their doors. And that's the end. So you're telling me that you're giving me my source document by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you want me to file the next day by 5 p.m. That's just about 28 hours. And now, take 2 weeks from top preparer to the senior review to the manager, then the partner. That's basically how it's supposed to go. And you're giving me 28 hours to figure it out. Yes, these are the at first we said we were not going to be able to do it, but then the client escalated to the partner, and then for some reason the partner, maybe because of client's management and all of that, agreed that we will file the computation. So I've just painted a scenario where you don't have a choice. You have to figure it out. And what did we do? We cut off what would have been a learning point for the most junior member of the team. We took it away and gave a more experienced person to start the computation. And then for some reason, I kid you not, we filed that computation. By 12 noon the next day, it was ready. The partner had reviewed, and then we submitted. But we told the client that please let this not happen again. This is not how we work. So, well, I've digressed. Now, what I'm trying to say is that sometimes when there's nothing you can do about it, and then you just have to do. But most often than not, I have found that we are the cause of our problems somehow, because we always say there's time. Or I don't know whether we like to work under pressure and we just believe that we can do it. After all, I did it. Was something that should have taken 2 weeks. We did it under 24 hours. If we take away that mindset, if we start our task early, we would be able to manage stress significantly. I think that's the very first approach that I've taken now. Start things early, set realistic timelines. I don't want to be pressured. I don't want to do any work under pressure except it is absolutely necessary. I want to sleep well. I want to, even in the time when this thing is very important, budget is this, is that, I want to be able to delegate so that even I can rest it, I can refresh, so that when I come to this task, when it's my turn to do this task, I can do it in a shorter period of time. So just summarize what I'm saying. You should delegate. You should set realistic timelines. You should start early where it is necessary, where it is possible. You should start early. You should, if it's something that is even a routine task, for example, you know that you're going to do this thing. There's no choice. Like, for example, the pay schedule that I talked about, I know I'm going to always file it by 10th of the following month. I'm not going to wait till 9th to start requesting documents that I need to. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you have some time, if you have very realistic to do this, that way you're in check, you're in line, you're looking at what you have to do, and then you can start on time. You can delegate the ones that you can delegate. I think you would manage stress better. And if you manage stress better, like you said, you will not get to that point of burnout.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing those tips. So starting early, delegating, I mean, those are two very important tips that people should know. Yeah. So how does societal expectation or workplace contribute to burnout?
Let me go back to the example that I just gave you, where we needed 2 weeks to do a computation. We are told the client that we cannot do it in 2 weeks, and then they escalated to the partner, and the partner agreed that we will do it in this limited amount of time. So those things happen. That's work culture. But I think in a way our bosses have a part to play in this part of it, because if our bosses don't agree to unrealistic timeline, it gives their subordinates, it gives those of us that have to actually do the work, it gives us time to work. But in a fast-paced environment like consulting, for example, in fact, even in the industry, there are industries that are very, very fast-paced, where these things just have to happen. I think, again, realistic timelines is very, very important. And then allowing I think most often than not, again, when you always giving your the people you work with that, oh, I'm sure that NG is going to do this and she's going to get it done. That I don't know what to call it now. That confidence too allows the people you work with to give you um this level of trust that it will get done, it will be done. I think that also releases the pressure a little bit. So in our own case, I think we should trust our team members more, that if they say that they cannot do this thing, maybe we should just believe them that they actually cannot get it done in the time when we're asking them to. Let's trust our team members more. Let's give them realistic timelines to work with.
Yeah, it's a case of give your team members set realistic timelines, because some of the timelines that we're given, we've gone to overpromise that we can get this done in 1 month, when in reality it could be about 2 months. But and then everybody starts working overtime to ensure that they meet up with that deadline, so that they do not disappoint the customer, the clients that needs it. Yeah. So, and how can, okay, so what's one lesson that burnout has taught you that you would want others to know?
That would be that the body will take what the body will take. If you don't give your body the rest that it needs, eventually your body will take that rest that it needs. So, if you are doing bragavo, I can do this, I can do this, I can push through, I can push through. Eventually, you're going to break down. One way or the other, it will catch up with you. So, why not take the rest that you need? And then by the time it catches up with you, the funny thing is that it will now take longer. For example, if I know that I need 5 hours of sleep to function typically, to function optimally in the next day, why am I sleeping for 3 hours? Because eventually, those 2 hours that I refuse to sleep for, it will cost something. It might be in form of migraines. It can be in form of and the Nigerian in me wants to say malaria, because that's what stress typically mimics in this our climate. So it's eventually going to happen. So take the rest that you need, so that your body doesn't take it when it's not convenient for you. And the funniest thing is that when you will fall sick, when you will break down, it might now be a very, very terrible timing in the place of work, in the time like that you need to actually be at your best. So what burnout has taught me is take that rest. No matter how much you want to push, like I said, sometimes it's inevitable. But when that is done, don't say, oh, I can race through the next one. Take the rest. Because if you don't take it, your body will collect it when it wants to collect it. And that time it will be worse.
So this is very valid. Your body collecting it when it wants to collect it. Very true. I remember there was a year I worked through the holidays, and my body collected it. I was doing my best at work. I was tired for the rest of the year because during the breaks too, I was working. I mean, I had a fair share of the blame, even though I jumped on the project late, but I had a fair share of the blame too. There was just a lot of back and forth. I thought it was something we could deal with after the holidays, but we had to deal with it throughout the holiday. And then what then happened was I didn't have enough rest. I actually had to take permission of work, but I also had exams to write. I was just tired. And then I knew that for like 6 months, my brain was not functioning optimally. I requested time off work, and I was granted that time off work. And that 1 week that I was away gave me all the rest I needed. I was really ready to come back and continue the war. And even though after 1 week, they shall drained small energy.
Yes, it's normal.
And I
It's
agree.
normal.
But that rest was really, 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 really great. It was nice to have, and I'm looking forward to having it again. Yeah, the cycle never ends. So how do you personally stay motivated and energized in your
Hmm.
career?
I remember I'm going to answer this with what my sister told me. So, I have ACCA, and for some reasons, after my ACCA, I went and did my master's. Now, we all know that in the big four, you can come the way you are and then you will be trained. Shout out to the big fours. Anyways, my BSc is in botany and I am a tax professional right now. The way I transformed, we can only thank KPMG. And I always say that every opportunity that I get. But what I'm trying to say is, after I finished my ACCA, I opted for a master's program that was what's it called now? That is remote. I was working and I was doing school. Why? Because I wanted to have something that had accounting on my CV. That was like the primary reason why I took that course that I took. And then after I finished, I told my sister that I was going to register for ICANN and write my conversion papers. And she said, "Why are you like this? Did they say you should not rest? Did they say that you must always write exams and all of that?" I'm just trying to say this, that is how I see growth. That is how I try to stay motivated to keep learning. My current employer also promotes this by ensuring that I attend trainings, so I attend trainings, I attend seminars, webinars that would make sure that my career is still up to date. And while it is up to date, I also am doing the personal, I'm putting in the personal work to ensure that I stay on top of my field. I continue, and this continues to motivate me. The fact that I know that I'm working, I'm seeing progress. The Diola of yesterday is not the Diola of today. Some people see it as just adding alphabets to my name, and they tire you. Like I said, that even my sister said that. But I see it as I am learning, I am growing, and it keeps me motivated. But you know that it doesn't have to be a big degree like MSc. You can just take a Coursera course, for example. One of it is free. It can just be you reading an article on what we're discussing now. It can be just listening to a podcast. Something to just make you to continue to stay relevant. It doesn't have to be big.
Well, hey, that your motivation is interesting. I know someone who just loves to read anything and everything, and I'm sure it also keeps him motivated and energized. I know my boss got me initiated in this reading this Harvard Business Review articles, and they are actually things that keep you going. He also used to share newsletters from Financial Times and all with us as well. I think those things actually help. The more you read stuff, you're able to stay on top of your game. And then I think it also motivates you in a way. There's also this confidence you exude because you feel like you're on top of the situation. Mm, yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So, do you think that burnout can ever have a silver lining? Can it push someone towards positive change? Do you think that can happen?
Burnout and positive change. I'm not sure. I've not seen it happen before. I have not seen it happen. Personally, it has not happened for me. Let me put it that way, because whenever I'm burnt out, the only thing that I'm looking forward to is rest. Rest. Let me just rest. And I noticed that when I am burnt out, I start to lag. I start to take longer time to do things that would have taken me a shorter period of time. And until I get that rest that I need, it doesn't go away. So I've really not seen a silver lining as a result of burnout. I think I should clarify that it's a different thing if you have a goal that you're looking at, and that this is my target, this is what I'm working towards, and maybe as a result of that I'm a bit stressed and I have no control over that. I think that's a different thing. For example, you have an exam to write, and maybe the reading plus work plus attending classes is making you tired, is making you stressed out, and is making you, the fact that you know that once I write this exam and I pass it, it takes me an edge closer to whatever it is I want to achieve. I don't know if people see that as a silver lining, but I think it's a different thing. I have a goal, I'm working towards it. I think it's a different thing than actively being stressed out, being burnt out, and then you see, oh, there's a silver lining at the end of this burnout. I think they're two different things. So, silver lining as a result of burnout, it has not happened for me.
True. True. I also align with your thoughts. If we are trying to achieve a achieve a particular goal, I think that you just have to find a way to make it work. But with regards to work burnout, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I also see a silver lining. I know people may have different thoughts, but I'm not sure I see a silver lining there. So, do you have any final words or final comments on work burnout?
It's something that I have said before, that
Okay.
we need to rest. We need to take the rest that our body, our brain, our mind that it requires, because at the end of the day, when you don't, you're going to eventually pay for it, because your body will take it when it might not be convenient for you. Can we put burnout at stake? I think 90% of the time we can control and manage our schedules better to ensure that we don't get to the point of burnout. Yes, we can be stressed and it can be short time, but we should be able to control our schedule most of the time. It might not be every time, to ensure that we don't even get to the point of burnout. Yeah, I think those are my final thoughts on the topic.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Adeola, for coming on this episode to share your thoughts on random talk with Angie on work burnout. I truly appreciate it, and I've also learned a lot. I'm going to try to be a better manager by setting realistic timelines or agreeing realistic timelines with my
Yeah,
clients if they agree.
you're welcome. And I want to trust that you would
Thank
be a better manager, agree realistic timelines so that your team members are not stressed out because of things that we can set better time for.
Yeah, because
Nothing is
nothing is
actually
ever really urgent in life. If you drop dead, if you drop dead this minute, I mean, a minute silence and then a quick
yeah,
replacement, and life goes on. Only those near and dear to you would
exactly,
actually just
exactly. And
remember.
there's more to life than work. I always say this. There's more to life
There's more to
than
life
work.
than work.
And I don't believe that work-life balance is a myth. I have never believed that. Whether you call it something else, whether you try to look for a fancy word for it, it is not a myth. You can achieve it. You can strike a balance between your work and your life. Yes. And I have seen senior people. I've seen senior people do it. And so it's not me, it's not just me. I've seen senior people who even have bigger schedules, bigger workload than us, and they still find time for life. They did not just, that somebody that is perpetually stressed, even as a staff assistant, will be stressed when they're a partner, even when they don't have that much. Because if you don't learn it, it doesn't just come to you. If you don't learn it from the get-go, if you don't make it an habit, you're not going to be relaxed. So it's not about paying your dues. Yes, a little bit of I've paid my dues, but they still manage it. I've seen a significant amount of people have lives outside of work. Like, they're happy and they're doing well in their career too.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So that's it, dear listeners. You've listened to Adeola share her thoughts on work burnout and also share her experiences as a consultant. I just want to remind us today to take time out to rest, because as Adeola said, if you do not take time to rest, your body would actually require that rest, especially when you least expect it. If you enjoyed this episode, if you learned a lot from this episode, do not forget to leave a review and share with someone whom you know needs to work on work burnout. Till I come your way next time, this is Random Talk with Angie with Ngozi Obiefna. Have a beautiful week ahead.